Hey everybody, this is Into the Michaelverse, and this is my commentary and analysis of the Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 3 entitled Power Broker. I'll be doing a light recap of the show, stopping along the way to focus on parts I found interesting. Let this also serve as your spoiler warning for the entire series, and just in case I'm right about a couple of things for anything in the future in any multiverse forever throughout all time and space. A lot of things happened in this episode, so let's get into it. The episode begins with the Global Repatriation Council, or GRC, putting out a commercial filled with rosy imagery and scenes of hopefulness and love. We learned last episode that the GRC is the organization in charge of putting blippies back where they were before the blip. But as we saw from episode 1, the way Sam and perhaps others on the show see it,
every time something gets better for one group, it gets worse for another.
And we kind of get supporting evidence for this notion, as in the very next scene we're shown a side of the GRC that they don't show you in the commercials. We're taken to Munich, Germany, where we're shown that the GRC, led by international symbol of hope and freedom Captain America, comes in way too hot, breaking down the door of a German independent small business owner for the purpose of shaking him down for information about the Flag Smashers. The owner is obviously pissed about the door, but he's probably just as pissed that this Captain America is going after his heroes, so he spits in his face. This elicits a Housewives of Orange County response out of John.
Do you know who I am? I drive a Dodge Stratus!
I feel like the thing that angered John the most here is the guy didn't respect what he was supposed to represent. Like here he is, decked out in his snazzy government-issued Captain America outfit with his legendary vibranium shield, a thing that has traveled through time and space. And this insolent commenter isn't just unimpressed, he openly disdains it. And John just cracks, you know? He's under a lot of pressure to finish the mission because he's afraid that he'll be seen as a fraud if he doesn't. And this German guy doesn't care.
I don't care.
So you know, this Captain America was just having a bad day. And it's also yet another rejection from the outside world of him as Captain America. And even though in this case the hatred isn't solely directed at him, John does take it personally. Sam and Bucky are one thing, they're superheroes. But this small business owner spitting in his face, John's fragile ego can't deal with that. And we also see that John's idea of being Captain America is about getting results, which is part of it. But another big part of it is not being a dick to civilians. Our Steve was always kind to civilians. He even held those blip trauma recovery meetings. And of course everyone remembers this touching moment with a civilian.
You got hard, kid. Where you from?
Queens?
Brooklyn.
So Bucky goes and breaks Zemo out of prison. It seemed a bit too easy for my taste, but whatever. But before that, Zemo tries to use the magic Winter Soldier words on Bucky, but they don't take. It looks like they do good brain work in Wakanda. Bucky tries to convince Sam that breaking out Zemo is a good idea, because Sam and Bucky have nothing, while Zemo, due to his time investigating Hydra's super soldier program back in Captain America Civil War, might know something. But aha! He didn't wait for Sam's approval, he'd already done it. Bucky then gives Sam a second reason to trust him. Zemo hates super soldiers and will do anything to end them.
He is crazy, but he still has a code.
Zemo tells the pair that they need to go to Madripoor, a fictional city in the Marvel Universe that got Sweaty excited because it's connected to Wolverine. The city consists of two sections. The people that made it live in Hightown, while the people still hustling to make it live in Lowtown. We find out that Baron Zemo is a rich baron, telling Sam that he was royalty before Sam and his friends destroyed his country. Zemo's got his own plane and his own butler too. While they're on the plane to Madripoor, Zemo steals Bucky's diary and reads it aloud, which Bucky really doesn't like. He grabs Zemo by the throat, and I don't think we've ever seen Bucky this pissed. Sam tries to lighten the mood and mentions that the book is Steve's, which prompts Zemo to talk about how Sam adored Steve Rogers, and if you hold people up as heroes, you inevitably start a chain reaction where folks hold them less and less accountable for their mistakes and or misdeeds.
They become symbols, icons, and then we start to forget about their flaws. From there, cities fly, innocent people die, movements are formed, wars are fought.
We see one of the lives ruined by the existence of superheroes when we meet a very different and justifiably bitter Sharon Carter. When we last saw Sharon, she was helping Sam and Bucky during the events of Captain America Civil War, and she was repaid for that by being named an enemy of the state. It's also possible that she's still harboring a bitter resentment after losing out on Steve Rogers to her aunt. Sharon makes her first appearance on the show at a bar called the Brass Monkey, a bar located in the previously mentioned Lowtown section of Madripoor, where Sam, Bucky, and Zemo were undercover using aliases. Sam as a guy named Smiling Tiger, who's a supervillain in the comics, and Zemo as Zemo from Captain America Civil War, and Bucky as the Winter Soldier from Captain America the Winter Soldier. Sam doesn't silence his cell phone for some reason, blowing their cover, which causes Sharon to step in from the shadows to get the trio out of a jam as Lowtown descends into John Wick Chapter 3. After hearing Sharon's side of the post-Captain America Civil War story,
I stole Steve's shield, remember? I also took the wings for your ass so that you could save his ass from his ass. Like you, I didn't have the Avengers to back me up, so...
Sam offers to help Sharon get a pardon in exchange for her help in finding the rogue super soldier serum. Sharon agrees to help, but not before laying down this epic and brutal sass at Bucky.
Before you were his pet psychopath, you were Mr. America, Cap's best friend.
Which prompts a hurt and confused Bucky to respond.
She's kind of awful now.
Turns out, the new awful Sharon is well connected in Madripoor's criminal underworld. So connected, in fact, that she's got a place in Hightown that hosts fancy parties, and she's able to find the location of a doctor named Nagel, who's concocted a new super soldier serum. And also, this happened. So they catch up with Nagel, who tells them that his version of the super soldier serum is superior to all other versions because his serum doesn't make people jacked. Which is why the Flag Smashers are super strong, but also super normal looking. So basically, Marvel can hire any top name actor to play super soldier and they will no longer have to put them through a rigorous mass calorie diet and a brutal 6-month weight training regimen. And whatever else they do to him. So if John Walker does end up becoming a super soldier later on in the series, Wyatt Russell can play him just the way he is. Sharon then runs into the shipping container telling the men that they're out of time. That organization fell, he got assigned to the same position at the CIA, where he was able to study the blood of a guy named Isaiah Bradley, which pointed him in the right direction. We met Isaiah Bradley in the last episode. He was a black super soldier from the late 40s and early 50s who had lived a torturous life which evoked the real-life Tuskegee syphilis experiment, which was a very real thing done to very real African Americans in the 30s and 40s. This is yet another indignity he had to experience. Then, just as Nagel's about to finish his super soldier serum masterpiece, he got blipped away.
Before I was able to complete my work, I turned to dust.
By the time the Incredible Hulk had blipped everyone back, the CIA had abandoned the project. But that's when the power broker contacted him and offered him a chance to finish his work, which he did, making 20 vials of the stuff, which Carly Morgenthau stole away. While Zemo, Bucky, and Sam are busy receiving this heavy exposition dump from Nagel, Sharon's outside single-handedly John Wicking every bounty hunter that shows up to collect the bounty on the trio for their apparent role in killing the important lady at the Brass Monkey Bar. Sharon runs inside to tell the guys that things are getting crazy out there and we gotta get the hell out of here. And Zemo takes advantage of the situation by murking Nagel.
What did you do?
Meanwhile, the hunters outside ratchet up their attack using bazookas. Sharon and the trio of men eventually make their escape, with the guys going out to chase another lead. Sharon, meanwhile, stays behind, but then gets into a car after telling her bodyguard driver,
We've got a big problem. Actually, a couple of them. I'll tell you in the car. Let's go.
I found the way that she worded that interesting. The writers seem to have left this line intentionally vague. She could have been talking about people, something that happened, or maybe a mixture of the two. It was also confirmed this episode that Carly and the rest of the Flag Smashers aren't mutants. Here, Carly details what Nagel's new, more efficient super soldier concoction felt like taking.
My veins were on fire. Pray did kill me.
And then we see just how seriously Carly Morgenthau is taking this cause when we see her do this.
No.
There were still people in there.
This is the only language these people understand.
It'll be interesting to see if the show goes into her backstory a bit more to show us why she's willing to go further than even her fellow Flag Smashers are willing to go. It also draws a parallel between her and Zemo. Even though they're on opposite sides in terms of whether or not they believe superpowered individuals should even be allowed to exist, they're on the same side when it comes to murdering people to get closer to their ultimate goal. In short, Zemo and Carly are both zealous for their cause. And like Zemo and Moses before her, it doesn't appear that she sees a place for herself in the Promised Land. Carly sees herself as a necessary evil who will lead her people to water but won't be pure enough to drink. I don't think so. Carly sees herself as a necessary evil who will lead her people to water but won't be pure enough to drink it. Just like Zemo in Captain America Civil War. And Moses in the Bible, Old Testament. Before I go, here's my grand theory for this show. I'm calling my shot, I'm swinging for the fences, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that General Thunderbolt Ross is the power broker, and Sharon is working undercover in Madripoor to stop him. It would make sense since Ross is most likely responsible for her being persona non grata in the United States, and she probably has it in for General Thunderbolt Ross. And Ross has been trying to create a super soldier of his own for the longest time. If the show does end up going down this path, I have two questions. Does Thunderbolt Ross become Red Hulk like he does in the comics? Second question, does Marvel Studios pay William Hurt enough money to perform in a mocap suit with a cardboard cutout over his head? Or maybe Marvel Studios introduced that more subtle, more efficient version of the super soldier serum just for him, and we'll see skinny Red Hulk. Actually, I have a third question too. Where is Betty? I also predict that John Walker's gonna take the super soldier serum, and Isaiah Bradley's gonna come out of retirement to kick his ass. That's all I have for this week. Episode 4 is about to come out any minute now. I can't believe I did this to myself again. I'll do better next time. And until next time, this is Into the Michaelverse. Out.